MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Go. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. We rollin'!
Covering MMA from all over the world, this is the premier stop for all your combat sports needs. MMA Junkie Radio, the only show broadcasting live from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. The lights are on and the mics are hot. It's time to get your MMA fix, junkies. Take it away, Big John.
Gorgeous George and Goes, are you ready? Junkie Nation, are you ready? Well, let's get it on.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes. Ari's co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom. Back east, we have a trio. I'm going to call him JMK, Jumbo Josh, Mike Russo, and the lovely Kelly. What's up?
How do you know it's not Kelly with a C? You know people are weird.
There ain't no Kelly with no C's. I haven't met one yet.
Really?
With a C? Because that would be Selly. Kind of like, hey, are you on your Selly right now?
Think so?
Yeah. I think it would have that S sound.
Hey, you just never know in this
I'd
world.
be shocked, though. I'd be shocked if that was Kelly with a C. You never know. All right. It's Monday, and it's June 2nd. So hope you all had a very nice weekend. And here we are back, ready to tackle Fight Week, fellas, because UFC 238 is on Saturday in Chicago, Illinois, and they got a stacked card. And guess what? One of the co-headliners is going to be in studio today. However, preceding her will be a colleague of ours from SiriusXM, Sean O'Connell. Now he's gracing the broadcast table for PFL on ESPN 2. They're on ESPN 2 and ESPN Plus, and of course, you know PFL. They have PFL 2019, Week 3 on Thursday, and then on Saturday we move over for UFC 238. So Sean O'Connell will join us at 8:40 p.m. Eastern, 5:40 p.m. Pacific. Jessica I and her head coach, Eric Nicksick, will stop by the studio 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Although there may be an early stoppage. I'm not talking about the fight. I'm talking about they were actually telling me they have a little bit of free time and may cut in early. So
cool.
That was nice to see because oftentimes when you get that text right before the show's just about to start, it's a cancellation or a reschedule. So I was like, oh wow, this is different.
Usually it's hey, what time zone are you guys in again? Or it starts with something like that.
Did we say today? Did we say Monday?
Yeah.
Or was it when is or no. So yeah, they may stop by a little bit early, and then we'll finish up with Lyoto Machida, former UFC light heavyweight champion and now a current Bellator middleweight superstar. Well, no, actually he's going to be fighting as a light heavyweight against Chael Sonnen, Bellator 222. That's coming up though in a couple weeks. So, like I said, it's going to be a fun show, and we invite you to be a part of it by calling in 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893, and of course you can always participate with the show and the channel on Twitter at MMA on SiriusXM, and that works for all the shows, not just us, but the fellows at the fights, Randy and Jerry, the Luke Thomas Show, Busted Open in the mornings, and of course MMA Tonight. Holler at all the hosts and producers. Everybody's always checking in, and there's a lot of great content that comes out of that, especially those audiograms. So shout out to the producers for that.
It's quite a stable.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. So let's talk about the big news over the weekend. Alexander Gustafsson and Anthony Smith. How about that fight, huh?
That's funny because I didn't know in what direction you were going to go to.
Oh, I'll hit the boxing.
Yeah.
That was a huge upset. When the heavyweight champion of the sport of boxing goes down, I mean, honestly, if we didn't have a stellar, main event ourselves, then we probably may be shifting over to boxing. But the guys did a good job for the last couple hours on the fights.
We'll get to
and
it.
Remember, all the shows are on demand. In fact, they had Deontay Wilder on the show, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so we'll get to that. But, man, Alexander Gustafsson lost to Anthony Smith. He got submitted. I didn't think he was fighting bad. I thought he was actually maybe starting to make a move. I gave Smith the first 2 rounds, but I'll concede that the rounds were close. And I thought Gustafsson was still maybe going to hit a comfort zone. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, the fight ended. He went for like a hip toss. Anthony blocked it. He wound up on the ground. And then, as often noted by the fight analyst, do not sleep on Anthony Smith's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's got a really good jiu-jitsu game, and it was on display, man. He got the tap out, and that was that. And then immediately afterward, Alexander Gustafsson retired from the sport. I sensed it as he was in a hurry to kind of take off his gloves that could be happening, but I just thought he would say, hey, look, that was a tough one. Thank you, Stockholm, for coming out, because he's the hometown hero, all right? And I was hoping, please, just that's it. And nope, he retired. And that sucked, man. He's 32 years of age. He's been a top 5 light heavyweight for about close to a decade. I just think it was a frustration retirement. And I don't know if it'll be 6 months, a year, or 2 years, but I'm predicting right now he'll be back. But I'll respect his decision, and if he bows out, he had a great career. That's fine. You don't have to win a world title to cement your legacy in any way. He really put Sweden on the map, Scandinavia on the map in terms of leading the charge for the onslaught of fighters that are going to come through there, because this sport is just growing. But anyway, enough of me. What do you think, Gus?
I think you're right. I think it did feel like a frustration retirement, but at the same time, like, it's a division that really needs somebody like Alexander Gustafsson. But he's a guy that he's just not fighting the same way, and everybody around him is also getting younger. They're getting better. It's tough. I understand why he went that route. But, I mean, this is I don't know. It's a division that needs talent. I would have loved to see him around. It's John Jones, really, when you think about it. If John Jones was not around, that division would be so much fun. And that belt would go back and forth. We would be going, wow, this is one of the funner divisions, because there's some killers in that division. It's just, I don't know who has enough for the champion. Alexander Gustafsson, I think he was just, I gave him round 2. I thought Anthony won round 1, and I thought they were all kind of close, but he's not fighting the way he used to.
Who, Gustafsson?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's odd to me.
Dan, Tom?
It's tough. He's been kind of inconsistent, I guess, but which made it hard to pick him confidently here, which is why I picked him, but I didn't pick him confidently. And boy, am I kicking myself. Not because getting picks wrong. You get picks wrong all the time, and that's the whole really. They're just frivolous, really. But I hate getting a pick wrong for a guy I like and really kind of championed. And I can't really use that word because I picked against him twice now, against John Jones and now against Gustafsson. But that's Anthony Smith. So I don't want to take anything away from Anthony Smith's victory by overplaying Gustafsson's inconsistencies. That Goes was alluding to. You go back to that Jan Blachowicz fight; he was fighting flat-footed. He looks like a killer 5 rounds against Glover Teixeira, and then was it the injury? Looked like he did pull something in his groin mid-fight. There was the California changeup. It was John Jones. How much can you mark him off for that performance, right? But it did seem like he wasn't. His old lusty-gusty self, right? So, maybe going by that pattern, even if a pattern of inconsistency, maybe we get the good Gustafsson here. I don't know if that was it. I mean, Anthony Smith, where he was having success, it was the places where I could see him having success. His check hook, his counter right hand. It's just, finding those pockets.
And his footwork, right? The way he was able to not chase, but cut off and plant himself in good positions. I really love that lateral movement that he had. A lot of fighters could learn that.
And I feel bad because I use the word plotty, and a lot of times we kind of just bust out a take after the show, guys, and you don't really think too deeply of the words you use. And I know the fighters, they'll definitely hang on to it. And I didn't mean plotty in a bad way. In fact, I remember in the breakdown, I was quick to reference Glover Teixeira after it, another fighter whom I deeply respect, as a veteran of the game. It's not a rookie move or anything, but everybody is kind of moves, and I can't even think of another word for it now. Moves a bit slower. They're less fleet of foot when you're going against a guy like Gustafsson, and you incorporate the length. He's a weird anomaly that's proven more times than not to make it work throughout his career. So I also feel like these are trap picks, especially for guys like myself, like quote-unquote analysts, or guys who are trying to, even not analysts, but people who make their picks or make their sports bets based off of the knowledge we know. And it's really tough.
Listen, it's an unpredictable game.
Yeah.
And I've seen you rack up 5-1s and 6-0s all spring. So, don't be too hard on yourself.
Right.
And you have championed a lot for Anthony Smith, the Factory X team, Coach Mark Montoya, and his game plan.
I was happy for them, yeah.
You know what I mean? So It's just one of those. It's a tough sport, man. And
It is.
I think I keep seeing you at the top of the leaderboard as well.
I think I still am. Yeah. I'm trying not to. I feel like I'll jinx myself if I look too heavily at that. So I try not to look at that. But yeah, no. You're right, George, and thank you for that. I appreciate that, man. And I'm always happy for them. I just don't want to take away from either guy. I feel like kind of what sums it up best, and I thought you were going there for a second, was that end shot. Anthony Smith kind of gets a submission, and he's exhausted. Gus is just crushed, right, devastated, and Smith just showing just. Smith looks like a menacing character, but he seems like a really genuinely good dude, and you could really see that at the end. It's how a guy wins, right? It's not how it lose. It's not necessarily how a guy loses. It's more forgivable. But if a guy wins poorly, a little less forgivable, and if a guy wins well, that's kind of his real character there.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys notice their demeanors coming out of the tunnels into the cage?
No.
When I saw Alex, for some reason I thought he just looks different to me.
Oh wow!
I had
Anthony
heard that
looked like he
physically
needed to be there, like
he
he wanted
did.
to be there.
I had heard that physically he didn't look as, we'll say, tight, as lean, maybe as others, as other fights.
Yeah, I
but
noticed that too.
Look, I didn't think he fought bad. I didn't think he looked good. I think what Gustafsson thought was, I'm using my fuel tank across 25 minutes. I'm not in a hurry to end this fight. I'm going to use volume. I'm going to find my openings. I'm not going to make a mistake and get caught. I'm going to respect his power. And guess what? Anthony Smith did a lot of right field to third base. And what I mean by that is, you ever seen when somebody is on first and they're going to all the way to third base when they hit to right field? Because obviously that's a far throw. And those guys just, wind up, dude. Anthony Smith threw a lot of those and missed. So, look, like I said, I thought Gustafsson was following a good plan. But look, there's only two guys, and one guy has to win and one guy has to lose. And Anthony Smith was able to capitalize in a different way on the ground, So, kudos to him. But I really feel like Gustafsson, if he sits back, looks at the fight, goes to his record and goes, okay, wait, I lost to AJ, Jones twice. Hang on a second. I'm pretty damn good.
DC hell.
You know what I mean? And you got
And John,
Santos,
the first one.
that's going to be fighting John. What if Santos beats Jones? That opens up everything. You know what I mean? For a lot of fighters. Now, granted, John Jones is probably one of the deserved guys to get an instant rematch, but still, we'll see. When we turn to boxing, you'll see my point that I'm about to make, and that's just anything's possible. An undefeated heavyweight champion just lost in boxing. And we'll get to that, but anything's possible, especially in MMA.
But nobody knows better than them, right? Look, today, King Mo, good friend of the show, he retired.
He retired too.
And if you listen to the things that he was saying, you just know. And they know so much more than we do, right? We just see them before fights, during the fight, and a little bit after the fight. But they're the ones that go home, and they're the ones that are having problems getting out of bed and getting to training camps and all that. So who knows what all this decision entailed. But I think we can all agree that that's probably not the same Gustafsson we've seen throughout the years, and that's going to happen throughout the progressions of his career. But the guy just wasn't feeling it, and I kind of, when he says he's gone, I think he's gone.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me either, and I can never say I believe him because they can always come back, but with that caveat of them always being able to come back, it really wouldn't surprise me. We've heard this song and dance before with him in particular.
Yeah. Well, I know all of us here are holding on to a little bit of our opinion because we have a daily debate coming up, and it's going to definitely talk about Alex Gustafsson. Let's stick with the light heavyweight theme, however. How about Alexander Rakic and his win over Jimmy Manuwa? A, it was a beautiful KO. B, it was a violent KO. For a while there, I thought, wow, I hope Manuwa's okay because he got clocked with a head kick to the dome. And then when his body hit the canvas, it was one of those whipping effects, where your knees are taken out, your butt hits, and then all of a sudden the upper torso is just whipping back.
Like a whiplash, like a car accident.
And again, so glad, obviously, we fight on a canvas that's got some give. Because on the street, on a curb, on cement, on asphalt, that was scary. And he got up and he was good to go, and that was great to see. But I'm telling you, man, as violent as the game is, and that leaves you on the edge of your seat, because especially in this weight class, anything can happen. The minute it happens, boy, I have this unsettling feeling in my stomach at times for these athletes. You know what it was, guys? Look, of course I care for every single one of these fighters, but just minutes before, he gave a kiss to a young lady who I believe was obviously his wife or his partner, his significant other, whatever. hey, what was, imagine what she's feeling. Imagine what the people at home are feeling. And he's had a couple losses, man, and that sucked. A few years ago, he was here in Vegas, and he was here with his whole family. So, just knowing that as soon as, like, when our job's over, we go home to our families, and for the most part, unless a meteor hits us or we do something stupid, we're all getting home safely. But these athletes, who knows, who knows what can happen. Of course, the track record in our sport is a good one, but still, I mean, you're in a violent collision against another human, like playing high-speed human chess, they call it.
That's what's so odd.
Yeah.
It's so odd because this is kind of like, as a fan, you want to see that finish, right? And you want to see, like, that highlight reel type finish. But there's certain levels of that where when it happens, you instantly go from ooh to oh no.
Exactly.
And I think this was
me,
one of those. It was just really bad to see somebody just completely go out like that.
Imagine what that lady was feeling. Every second must have felt like an hour, just get back on that stool, and take a deep breath, start answering questions, and give us a vibe that you know where you're at and everything's going to be good. But we don't see that because a lot of times they'll cut to a commercial, and but that's just part of the sport. We know that going in.
Yeah, you guys know I'm a big advocate as far as like head trauma goes, and I pride myself. And yes, I'm not gonna lie, I do laugh at the memes or certain things like that. Certain ones when they're well done. I'm not above that. I will be fully admitting to my hypocrisy, if you will. But at the same time, I am the guy that I don't care if I cash a bet, make a crazy pick, whatever. The opposing person or whatever doesn't matter if I picked him or not. I am always that guy that tweets, I hope that person's okay, or I hope we get an update. And props, by the way, to UFC, commentary and production. I think they both deserve credit because that was kind of a thing that was, and I don't think they did it maliciously before, but people would want to hear the updates. And the UFC for everything they get criticized for. That was one of the things they would get criticized for. And I don't think they maliciously did it because it shows they actually went and corrected it. If you notice the production, especially guys like Anik or Fitzgerald, their play-by-play guys are really sharp about that. Saying he got up on his own and da-da-da-da, and they were,
You're right, I remember that.
They were really careful about it on this production. And I also like to see, and I wasn't trying to shoot my own horn, by the way. I'm glad you brought it up, George, because I saw a lot of people bringing it up. And I wasn't meaning to toot my own horn. I'm just saying that you don't see a lot of people tweeting that, whether they're fans or media. And that one was so bad that you saw everybody going. I saw more concern than I saw, meme, or which is good. It should be that way every time. Mm-hmm. But if we're being honest, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, man appeared to be okay, and now let's talk a little bit about Rakic. I mean, this guy's only got one loss, and he's on a roll, and now he's got that top 10 win where you can go, he's for real.
Soon,
so
now.
He's starting to creep up the ranks, and I'm sure he's going to get a big fight. Let's take a quick break, and we'll talk a little bit more about light heavyweight and, of course, the rest of the card. And, of course, some heavyweight boxing, man. Big upset in that sport. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, Channel 156. Stay close. We'll be right back.
More
Kinda wax
verbal
dust, too.
sparring. Take it away, ladies.
SiriusXM is your place to get up to date on college baseball and softball World Series. Starting tonight at 9 Eastern, it's the perfect game baseball with Darren Sutton and Mike Rooney. Then at 11 Eastern, catch perfect game softball when Sutton is joined by Amanda Freed. Only on ESPNU Radio Channel 84 and streaming on your phone and at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about boxing, but I just want to finish at least the main card, man, for the show out in Stockholm. I never know what to do, by the way, when they play the national anthem here so loud.
You know,
I mean, we
I
can't.
think my new rule, we talked about this
I'll
the other
just
day.
stand and put my hand over my chest. We'll have
Just
to keep
standing.
talking, you know what I mean? So in Stockholm, like they always do, they knocked it out of the park. 14,319 were in attendance. $2 million was the gate. We talked about Anthony Smith defeating Alexander Gustafsson in the main event. Alexander Rakic defeated Jimmy Manuwa in the co-main event. Makwan Americani defeated Chris Fishgold. Featherweight division, that was a submission there. Nice anaconda choke. Christos Giagos dug deep, man. He beat Damir Hadzovic. Giagos was looking up at the clock, man, in the middle of round 2. But he dug deep, man. That's what them wrestlers do. Daniel Tamer defeated Sung Bin Jo
That was a fun
via
fight.
unanimous decision. I'll just keep going here. The prelims, Sergey Kandasko defeated Rostam Akman, Lena Landsberg. Hey, shout out to her, man. She dug deep as well. She beat a tough Tanya Evinger. Leandro Santos defeated Stevie Ray. Frank Camacho defeated Nick Hein. Bia Malecki defeated Duda Santana. That was a good fight. I like that one. Duda's not bad. Devin Clark defeated Darko Stosic. Gosh, I hope I'm not butchering these names. And
That is my
Joe
pronunciation,
Alvarez
that one.
defeated Danilo Baluardo in the first fight of the night. The bonuses went all performance of the night bonuses. $50K each for Anthony Smith, Alexander Rakic, Makwan Americani, and Leandro Santos. Why didn't I say Leandro Santos' name? Did I skip him?
I thought you did say his name.
Oh, yeah, I did. Sorry. Okay, so congrats to all those. I think they were all pretty much spot on there with if they wanted to go the route of performance of the night. If we want to go to the fight of the night, I guess.
I thought Americani was fun.
Yeah, maybe they were right. I think they went the right route for performance of the night or whatever. You have an opinion?
Oh, no. Well, about the performance of the night, I guess.
Or
I'll
fight of
say-
the night? You think there was a fight of the night?
I can't be too mad at that. You named off a lot of fights. I just want to say shouts to Nick Hein, who retired. It was good to see Camacho get the win.
Yeah.
One of the few picks I got right. Man, again, I'm not trying to harp on it. Man, I got waxed on picks. But I knew it going in. I didn't do a heavy tape study. I was trying to get ahead for this week, which failed. But it was really cool to see. Man, not cool, but I should say it's crazy to see another 2019 retirement guys. All these guys retiring from MMA. We're talking about listeners being, or not listeners, fans of the sport maybe being able to drop off easier with all these, kind of changes and paywalls and whatnot. But does that apply for the fighters too? Is it becoming less of a financial, because a lot of times financial for both, obviously complete opposite ends, nickels and dimes on the consumer end as far as paywalls and, livelihood for the fighters end, obviously more important, but it's the same kind of connecting thing, could we see more of these younger guys kind of just, hey, if I can do this somewhere else, or I can go do my acting like I'm a Nick Hein, I'm a good looking dude, or whatever you got going for you, side hustle, we're going to see that more, but sorry.
Maybe. I mean, Tom Dukenwald caught me off guard. I think he was 5-1 in the UFC, 25
Prospect.
years of age, for sure. He had a bright future. King Mo, well, listen, he's up in his 30s, and King Mo wrestled all his life, and God, he's had near-death experiences with whether it be staph, or just surgeries that
It's like 5 ACL
that needed to be
surgeries.
redone, and so I understood that one. Gusty caught me off guard. Hein, I didn't know too much about that fellow. Dukenwald definitely caught me off guard. Wow, we have already a goal?
St. Louis Blues already
They
scored.
already scored on the Boston Bruins. Okay.
Could it be that more fighters are coming out saying they're starting to develop symptoms of CTE? Or maybe
Yeah,
fighters
there's
are saying,
more
you know what?
studies, there's more literature, more research that's being done, and if, like Dan said, if it's not, I wouldn't say not paying the bills, but if it's not meeting your threshold that you set up, okay, you have risk versus reward, and if you just feel like, hey, this isn't panning out, and I have another path, or to make some revenue or do something else in my life, or passion, guess what? You're just going to be out. Now you have a blueprint of the past 25 years of how the sports works. There's a little bit of what you're entitled to. There's the politics. Who knows? I mean, I guess every case is different. All right. In boxing, Andy Ruiz Jr. shook up the world, man. He defeated, you ready for this? Anthony Joshua. He was a massive underdog. Anywhere from plus 800 to plus 1,200 to plus 2,000, depending on what house you used. And he defeated him in the 7th round via KO. Yeah, I wish I would have caught a little bit more of at the fights, but I'm going to catch it on demand. However, there was 4 knockdowns in that fight prior to Anthony Joshua, getting shut down by the referee. Anthony Joshua also knocked down Ruiz. Did you see the finishing sequence when he got up? The referee asked him a question, and he nodded his head, okay, kind of ready to continue. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what else the referee said to him, but immediately he had this reaction what are you doing? Why'd you stop it?
Yeah.
What am I missing here? Why did he stop it?
I thought that more people would talk about this.
Did he need to step forward a little? Was he asking him to step forward and he wasn't?
I think he just saw that he just wasn't there. He wasn't. It was probably going to go down the same route.
Well, then he needs a better line of question, because all he said was, are you ready to go? And the other guy said, yeah, right away. No problem. I mean, almost like a confident yes. There wasn't no what'd you ask me? Or what am I doing here? I mean, there wasn't anything. It was just a firm answer. And then the referee summoned him a little bit more. There just wasn't anything clean-cut that I was able to see there off the DAZN highlights. And then, boom, it was over. Now, granted, I don't want to take anything away from Ruiz because he was mopping him. And Joshua was very, very classy in defeat. But still, that caught me off guard. In fact, I think, Jael, you said Josh is off right now, right? He's not... He's not with us?
He's gone.
Okay, I was hoping maybe Josh could chime in. But what'd you catch, Goes?
Look, I think he was just dazed. And these referees, they're used to these fighters. They know what they normally look like. And Anthony Joshua doesn't normally look that way. Even if you get caught, he still looked tired. He still just didn't seem like he was there for most of the fight.
So it was accumulation of...
I think it was.
All right.
Because if that were the first knockdown, and he responded the way he did, there's no way he stopped the fight. I think it's just a cumulative of what had gone on throughout the fight.
Yeah. I'm still confused by asking him, are you okay? Yeah. And if that wasn't good enough, then what was it, that led him to stop it?
Mm-hmm. You guys want to hear the biggest heavyweight title boxing upsets in the past 30 years? I got a list right here.
30 years?
Yeah.
Okay,
we got... plus 4,200 cash when Buster Douglas KO'd Tyson round 10, 1990. Plus 2,000 when Corey Sanders TKO'd Vladimir Klitschko round 2, 2003. A plus 2,000 cashed when Hasim Rahman KO'd Lennox Lewis round 5, 2001. Of course, the one we're talking about right now. Plus 1,600 cashed on Andy Ruiz Jr. TKO round 7 over Anthony Joshua. And plus 1,200 cashed when Lamont Brewster TKO'd Vladimir Klitschko back in 2004 in the 5th round.
What's funny is those odds, a lot of them match, but the trajectory of the guy that pulled the upset doesn't. Right? Some of them actually turned out to be decent fighters, and then others just kind of was their moment, right? Like Buster Douglas.
Interesting angle to look at it, yeah.
It's kind of weird, though, but the odds were the same. Well, that means the odds maker got it really wrong.
What did you think of the backlash on Twitter headed towards Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, focusing so much on this sloppy, fat heavyweight, I don't know. I mean, look, Andy Ruiz is 33-1. He's got 22 KOs, and that's a formidable record. The only guy he's lost to is the talented heavyweight from New Zealand, Joshua Parker, I believe his name is. Mm-hmm. And he fought well. And, it wasn't like one lucky punch. I mean, he knocked him down a few times. But still, I think in their efforts to be so over the top, they just kind of, missed a moment there to, give that guy, his, a little bit of a bump, in the platform that he's just creating himself. I mean, he got the IBF, WBO, WBC, I believe. I mean, he got 4 major belts. Wilder, I think, holds the other one or whatever. But he won 4 belts from Anthony Joshua, and it was a clean win. A lot of the MMA community was attacking those guys. Even other boxing, Marcos Villegas, same thing. What are you thinking? why that? You know.
Personally, I didn't think it was as big a deal as everybody made it. I think what people don't understand is the power of their social media and what one little post does. Because if I'm Stephen A. Smith and I put a post out on Twitter, I have other shows, right? And I'm going to come on, and most of that show, if I talk 30 minutes about that fight, maybe the fact that he's Latino and he's a little fat would be like 1% of that. And the rest would have been him talking about, hey, I mean, the guy showed up, he took him out, right?
Yeah.
But I think they don't realize the power of their social media and how many people see it. And then I think there's just a lot of people that just love to tell people what they think.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm overweight. I'm Latino. I should be one of the guys going, how dare he? But
let me
honestly,
read this
man,
to you one more time.
It's a combat sport.
Let me read this to you one more time. OMG, which, for those that don't know, oh my God. I cannot believe this, it looks like an expletive blocking out shit. Anthony Joshua, holder of 3 belts, wrong, 4, if I'm not mistaken, gets TKO'd by Butterbean. I mean, some dude named, right away, like, what do you mean some dude? Like, he's not a joker, he's 33-1. Some dude named Andy Ruiz Jr., what a damn disgrace. Joshua looked completely gassed, more fatigued than hurt. How in the hell did you let that happen? How? I don't know, man. I just don't think Butterbean that was necessary to get his comment out.
I guess, man. But, I mean, everybody's racing to get their comment out. You don't really have that much time to sit back and go, how is this? If you don't like him, don't follow him. I mean, I personally, I don't even think I follow him because he makes a lot of those comments that kind of bug me. So I don't really hate too much. I mean, if you're following him for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like you noted that you saw a lot of MMA people as well as boxing people. Respect to Marcos Vegas, but I gotta ask you guys. I don't follow boxing as much or other sports, but I do see a lot of more journalists from that side. A little more like they're not afraid to take shots at the athletes, and of course I don't agree with that. I come from more the martial arts side of things than the media side of things, and I think a lot of fans obviously are going to maybe obviously support the fighters, whether it's boxing or MMA more. But is this something that maybe we're not used to in MMA that we see a lot more, right or wrong, in other sports?
Look, I don't know. I mean, you can just tell that when you hit send,
right,
if you're meaning to hurt or
right,
clown or what percentage of your message you're trying to put out there and what percentage of the message you're trying to make about yourself, rather than the message itself. I just felt like right there, man. First, congratulate Andy Ruiz,
right,
not some dude named Andy Ruiz. I mean, again, he's 33-1, 22 knockouts. He deserved to be there. His only loss is to Joshua Parker, who's no slouch of a heavyweight. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. But Butterbean is, okay, so he's not svelte, and I get it. Joshua's statuesque, but still, I mean, it was, a disgrace. The disgrace was the fact that Wilder and Joshua may not be able to fight and make the big lucre to fight. That's something more headed towards the promoters, but Andy Ruiz did his job. 4 times he knocked down
a lot of people are going to do things like this, and the only thing I say in this scenario is everybody messes up. So just look at the quality of the individual, and if this is a person that does this repeatedly, then maybe take it to him. Yeah. But if it's not...
And another thing, too, this isn't even basketball. He's been messing up a lot in boxing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So, all right.
You didn't like him on MMA?
Yeah. Huh?
You didn't like him on MMA that first show?
I still got to warm up to him. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. When we come back, we'll be talking to Sean O'Connell. We'll be talking a little bit about PFL. PFL 2019 Week 3 is upon us. It's this Thursday, heavyweights and light heavyweights. And, of course, we also have Jessica I coming up. She'll be the co-headliner at UFC 238 in Chicago, Illinois. She'll be challenging Valentina Shevchenko for the UFC flyweight title. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
will destroy you. Just ask Three Finger Eddie and Pete the Penguin. Who are they, you ask? My point exactly. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, we're back. We'll be joined by Sean O'Connell shortly. Right now, I want to introduce Eric Nicksick, the general manager at Extreme Couture, one of the coaches over there. He actually will be in the corner of Jessica I on Saturday. Welcome, Eric. Always good to have you back.
Great to be
the
back.
Vanilla Gorilla.
Vanilla Gorilla. That's the Randy Couture nickname right there.
Yeah. You're already rocking the sea, huh? Warming up to Chicago right now.
I had to. Yeah, I got to win those Chicago fans over. So all the good juju on our side.
Yeah. What about PFL? What's going on this week for PFL? How many of the extremes are out there?
4.
4?
So, 4. Vinny. We got Carl. He stepped up short notice. He's taken on I don't even know who his opponent is in the heavyweight division. We got Zeke, heavyweight as well, and then Fransimir, another heavyweight. So we got a lot of heavyweights.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of fighters.
Got a lot of fighters.
The whole gym's got a lot of fighters.
Yeah.
Spread out across both cards.
Yep, and then we have Dom Tim making his pro debut in Combate. So we got a busy week, and then with Jessica and then Bagoy out in Chicago.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
How has the PFL affected the training schedule? Having those guys needing to go fight after fight after fight like that, has it changed the training room at all?
Not necessarily. I think more last year when we got into the playoffs, because Lance and I had a certain thing that we wanted to try to do, and we replicated that with Vinny, and I think it went over really well because obviously both guys made it to the finals and Lance winning them. But again, like I think Lance's idea and strategy of being in those wrestling tournaments and the way we wanted to set it up for the playoffs was there was a lot of gamemanship to be had. So and I thought he did a great job.
Is there a chance you might have to coach against him this year?
Yeah, there could be.
So he's just there for season 2, right? Will he be coming back to Extreme? Like, did it have to do with Jeremy Kennedy and also Alexander Almeida, or was this just a permanent move?
No, nothing at all. I mean, we talked, and he wanted to stay closer to home and be close with family and his wife. And I just know how hard it was on him all year, and I can hear the conversations at times. And more power to him because he didn't like. It never hurt him at all during that process. But I think when you win and you make the $1 million and now you have a little financial freedom, and Lance is a guy that's always going to look to strive to be better no matter what. We went 5-0, we won a title, we won $1 million, and dude, everybody's on the chopping block. It really is. I mean, this guy's always looking to be better, and I have no problems with him going over there. I'm happy for him. I know he's learning a lot, and I know he's closer to home. But my door is always open for Lance. He's done a lot for me. He's done a lot for my family. I love the guy like a brother. So nothing but the best for him.
Have you noticed that you've been doing this a long time?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say 10 years ago, people would come out and they want to try Vegas just for their training camp.
Right.
They're in and they're out. But haven't you noticed things have changed a little bit where now Vegas is different?
Right.
You can actually come here. You can start a family.
Right.
There's a lot of things for families to do around here. It's a different environment. Are you seeing more people coming not just with the intention of just getting their little training camp in, but actually maybe wanting to stay in Las Vegas?
100%. You guys know me a long time, but I'm born and raised out here. So I'm a product of Las Vegas, and I know what this town has to offer. But moreover, I think the big thing, too, a lot of people don't understand is Vegas will pull out any demon or any problems or any things that you might have. Vegas will expose you. So if you don't have that championship mindset or you're not available to train the days you're supposed to train or do the things you're supposed to do because of the pitfalls of Vegas, I know right away what we have. So that's what I kind of like about Vegas. It'll chew you up and spit you out. Or it'll make
that to some early
for sure
Extreme Coutures. I'm going to leave their names out.
But
they've actually been very open on this show, telling us how, I just wasn't ready for it. Because remember, MMA boomed around that time when Extreme opened its doors. Yeah. And so a lot of those fighters were rock stars, especially early The Ultimate Fighters.
For sure. I mean, that's when we opened, and that's when I was coming up in the first days of Extreme Couture. I can remember being in there. I'll say some names like Junie Browning. There was guys that came out that specifically to get better and to work on their craft, and then obviously the pitfalls of Vegas took advantage of them, and then they had to leave. So I'll give you one name. In particular was Kevin Lee, a young, impressionable kid. I'm moving from Detroit to Vegas. Vegas never wavered that guy. He was here to train and focus on being a champion, and that's what you saw out of him. He was in the gym every day working hard and getting better at this craft, and the nightlife of Las Vegas never affected him.
Mm-hmm. Motown Pheno.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle that he talks about, though, about it, just moving to Vegas not being the end-all, be-all. You don't think about that. And, kind of furthermore, not just the negatives that you speak of, but, I think we spoke of this a bit. We don't have to get into particulars, but even the positives, that's not an end-all, be-all just because you have this, and this out here. Like you said, if you don't have focus, whether it's for the belt or whatever your goal for what works for you is, you can see people maybe get pulled in too many different directions, too. So that could also happen on the positive end.
100%. And there's a lot of good training out here. There's a lot of unbelievable coaches out here. And I think for somebody that moves out here, you should be able to go out and experience that and get the best out of both worlds and stay off the nightlife and stay off the strip. And we could build champions out here.
Hey, that word pitfalls? What are the pitfalls?
All right. I know.
Strip clubs?
Oh, strip clubs.
Gambling?
Strip clubs.
Nightlife?
Strip clubs.
What are the other pitfalls? Drugs?
Yeah, drug. I mean, you have 24-hour access to anything that you want. And that's sometimes I laugh about it. You go out of town and you go win a nice big fight. And I'll go out and get a couple drinks. All right, last call. What the fuck is last call? I'm staying out till Tuesday, when I'm in Vegas, right? So, that's the big thing is you have access to anything and everything that you want at the tip of your fingers at any time in Las Vegas.
I got a pitfall that you guys probably won't think of.
Escape rooms.
Food. Escape rooms are fun. Ready?
Drinking.
Food.
No, your friends. Not the ones that live here.
Oh, the ones that come.
Every week somebody is here, and they all want to go out.
I thought you were gonna say the pool guy, the nightclub guy sending you a text. I got a table for you.
Yeah,
that's a pitfall.
And they never say I'm in town. Want to go watch John Wick 3? It's always The Hangover, dude. What club can you get me into? What show can I see?
Yeah.
That's a pitfall, dude.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I always love coming home to Vegas, my home, but on that flight where everybody's just fucking geared up, and they're like, yeah, Vegas, and then you're flying out and everybody's just wounded, took all their money, they hate Vegas. Like, all right, man, what happened? You guys aren't the same on the way out of here.
It's either. I was gonna say my stereotypes are either for the dudes, it's no offense, dude, Eric, but guys wearing sports caps, like being like rowdy, and then for girls, it's For girls, it's
mascara.
It's no. This is the heading to Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
It's a mascara well done, actually.
Right,
what you're saying. Hair well done.
Yeah.
But they're in sweats because let's just say the work outfit is packed. This is a business trip.
The walk of shame, the walk of flight home.
Oh no! In the morning when we would do a show in the morning, that was it right there. That walk.
That's it right there. Yeah. That and the Spirit Airlines on the way home. The Spirit Airlines flight.
But think about it. Every other city at home, for most people, like 99.9%, you're just occupying space in that city.
For sure.
You know what I mean? You're not really like, you can't go to the clubs and say, yeah, I'd like a table and give me a couple bottles and I'll be rolling in it. So, here in Vegas, all that can happen to any one of us at any point in time. Whether it's like helping each other with a contact, taking care of, taking care of, so this is like a city where you just get propped up a little bit. Your ego gets propped up.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're somebody that you're really, really not where you're originally from. You're from here this whole time, so you know nothing of what I speak of, like in SoCal, where, Goz and I were just like, like on our weekends, we just did like normal stuff, but we stood in lines. We paid our cover and, you know what I mean? Here in Las Vegas,
somebody,
you know someone, you get a little bit addicted, you take your friends, and next thing you know, they're hollering at you, hey, man, holler at that dude. I had a contact at Excess. That was amazing. I remember one time, Prince Harry, he had a worse spot than we did for Tiesto.
I
couldn't believe that.
That's it, man. That's what I love about Vegas is who you know.
I worked security at Excess, and for like 9 months, and I did the graveyard shift, midnight to 8 a.m. So, and that just gave me so many stories. But speaking of that excess and back kind of the fighters and distractions, you wouldn't believe how many fighters I saw in there doing very questionable things.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but what if it was a guy? He's on our channel. I don't know how much of a friend of the show he is. He's retired now. It's all kind of fun, good games. He went on to do great things. Is it bad to say if I saw maybe one fighter before one of their memorable fights, and that might have been a memorable loss as well?
Happens, dude.
Should I say that?
That's up to you, man.
Fire it. You can't do it now, bro. Now you got to say it.
Now I got to say it?
Yeah.
If I was to hint his nickname, it would come closest to Count Chocula.
Oh, okay.
Ah, okay.
And it was before UFC 100.
Another thing, too, is back home, you made your plans like a week, 2 weeks in advance, right? Want to go to the Laker game? When is it? It's a month from now. All right, here's my money, buy the ticket.
Right.
But here, this is where you come in with the discipline. Discipline's important because a lot of your plans happen like that.
Yeah.
I got 2 tickets to the Golden Knights game. It starts in an hour. You in? Boom.
Yep.
That's how Vegas works.
And I'm not home until Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I got a table. I got a cabana. I got this. I got that.
Man.
See, I had a
leads me to
fake
believe-
ID when I was 16.
Did you get out of your system early?
Oh man, I was by the time I
16?
was 16, I had a fake ID.
Damn, you beat me. I had one at 17.
16. So it was
Damn,
like
that hurts.
It was
I
the-
thought
it was
I
the
had that
beach.
on everybody.
We go to the beach and the beach nightclub and this is before nightclubs were in
I remember the
casinos.
beach.
The beach, Sharkies. There was like the drink.
I
Like all these
remember the
places
drink.
and
The drink
dude,
had a reality show.
Yeah.
I remember my address for the fake ID I'd always use 123
You had a fake ID too?
123 Spooner Street. I know, kind of seemed kind of far-fetched, right? Because like I would have to dress up to go
Was
out.
it legit? Was it another buddy
It was a
or
good
was
one.
it you?
The problem was my face, though, because I look young, especially back then, right?
Yeah,
I would have,
bro, you don't look 21 now,
I'd
motherfucker.
be like McLovin going up there, like, but it was a good ID, so it worked. But in retrospect, I probably thought I was all like, I could pull this off. Keep it cool, but in retrospect, I was probably all McLovin looking, slap my thing on there, like yeah.
I look back at that laughing like, man, I can't believe these people were actually serving us back then. I was like, I even saw like I posted a picture of me and my wife. I was like,
I saw that.
I was like, bro.
You need your bars around town, right? Like I would go to this Putters off of Trop, and there's this guy Georgie. That was
Yeah.
we called him, and we'd all just throw 20. All my friends, we'd all throw 20s down right when we walked in, so we'd have $100, and he would just pour shots.
That's
and
it,
drinks all
bro.
night, and that was
That's
it.
survival skills right there. He's just trying to make a living.
Yep.
You know, not get popped.
Hustling the kids.
Yeah, lose his TAM card.
What was yours a legal ID or was
So-
it a buddy or was it laminated?
No, like so all my friends that had older brothers, they had it on lock because all the older brothers that were 21, they would just go into the DMV with their birth certificate and say, hey, I'm gonna use one of my good friends' name. I'm Jay McLeod, and he would get his ID and he'd now be Jay McLeod with his picture. So I had to be a little bit more creative. Ours, the Nevada IDs, I don't know if you guys were around back then when there was just the laminate, the piece of laminate.
Yes, that's right. Yep. Yeah.
So what I did was I took I took a nail polish remover, put on the tip of the laminate, and it would peel up. So I pulled it off, and I was born in 79. I took an X-Acto knife and made the 79 into a 76.
What are you, Frank Abagnale Jr.
Dude,
over here?
Yeah.
So I was an architect.
Molly.
I had architecture class, and I did an architecture class and ran it right back through the laminator again, and it was 1976.
You have seen that movie, right?
What was it called?
Catch Me If You Can.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my God!
That's with
Eric,
Leonardo, right? Leonardo.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a classic.
I'm on it.
You,
I'll get on
just,
it.
you just say the listeners for me going into a Christopher Walken
Go
impression.
on your way to
That's
Chicago.
good.
You got to watch
Done.
that. I had another
Say less.
suggestion for you guys for Chicago, but I'll save it for when Jessica joins us. But like everybody always asks, what's on your Netflix and all
Right.
that. So I got a good one.
I'm in. I'll watch it.
But now,
That's good.
Catch Me If You Can supersedes that. How
Okay.
have you not seen that? That's a classic.
So you know what's
To
funny
me.
right now? Like for the guy, you've been in the gym a lot lately. All these young kids, the up and comers, the Ryder Newmans and the Maxes and those guys.
Right.
I'm like, hey man, have you guys seen Tommy Boy yet? And they're like,
Oh,
fuck, what's
yeah.
Tommy Boy? Like, dude, get off the mats.
Yeah, you quote
Dude,
anything from like
you
the
haven't
mid
seen
'90s
Dumb
range
and
or Dumb and
Dumber?
Dumber. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah. You quote something and they look at you like, what? What did you just say?
You haven't seen
And
There's
you're just
Something
like,
About Mary? Like, get
swing
the
and a miss.
fuck out of here.
Yeah. I did that the other day because I'll randomly quote stuff too, and I'm
Right.
like, oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Like an idiot now.
What'd you think of Gustafson and Anthony Smith? I want to get your thoughts real fast.
I didn't get to sit down and break it down.
Okay.
But I did see the outcome, and I'll tell you what, man. Like, I'm close with Mark Montoya, and I think what he's doing out there, he's just doing a great job. I just feel like the whole camp, the whole vibe, everything this coach is doing, everything that camp's doing,
Yeah.
I just felt like they were going to be on that cutting edge of finding a way to win that fight. And again, like the spots that I saw Anthony using his movement very well, cutting off the cage correctly, doing a lot of good things with his power. So I wasn't surprised, to be honest with you. I was surprised to see him retire.
32.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him retire.
I think he'll come back, but for now we're gonna respect his decision.
For sure.
I'm sure he'll take some time off.
Yeah.
And maybe there's other interests that he has, other pursuits. But for some reason, I saw it more of an emotional
Yep.
type of.
And being in Stockholm twice now, right, and losing to AJ, I think was one of those things where,
Yeah.
like, man, that's twice now. I can't do it.
And
at
he's
home.
lost twice to the current champion.
Good point.
So that's tough. You
Good
know, when you
point.
look and see, well, what am I doing here? Am I going to put over the young talent?
Right.
Because a third crack at the champ is so rare.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
he needs Santos to beat Jones or someone to beat Jones. If Jones is out of the equation, boom, back in.
Right, but when you rewatch like the Glover Teixeira fight, which wasn't too long ago, he looked like he was on just a different level.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, like what kind of Gustafsson are you going to get? And when you watch the John Jones fight again, the second one, he wasn't doing a bad job. I mean, I thought he was doing pretty damn good until John decided to start wrestling.
Mm-hmm. All right. We are going to see if we can reroute Sean O'Connell to a different spot, but I know we're approaching the top of the hour break, and then we're going to bring in Jessica Ai, who is slated to fight Valentina Shevchenko on Saturday in Chicago, Illinois, UFC 238. 2 title fights. We have Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes, and they're going to be trying to fill the void left by TJ Dillashaw, who relinquished his belt earlier this year. So that's a vacant title. And then you got the flyweight title for the ladies, Valentina Shevchenko defending against Jessica Ai. Plus, how about Ferguson versus Cowboy? That's going to be a great fight as well.
Card, dude.
I mean, this card, I counted it using our USA Today Sports and MMA Junkie rankings. There's 21 ranked fighters out of the 28.
Wow.
And I'm talking about we go 15 deep in different categories. We have 21 ranked fighters fighting this weekend, so it's solid. You got to tune in, folks. All right, we'll be back in about 60 seconds. It's the top of the hour break, and you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. Quick update. It looks like the St. Louis Blues have scored and now taken a 2-1 lead over the Boston Bruins. We'll be right back.
Here are George and Goes.
All right, we're back, and I want to welcome to the show Jessica Ai. Evil is her nickname, and she'll be challenging Valentina Shevchenko at UFC 238 on Saturday. Welcome, Jessica. Good to have you back.
Thanks for having me back.
And I was watching Embedded. The first one dropped.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it dropped, and it seemed like X's and O's, the fight game, you're good. Like, you just want to get to the fight. You know what I mean? It seems like it's been a camp that's been like mentally and physically draining.
I wouldn't say mentally draining. Actually, it's been like mentally invigorating.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy, like how camps end up going. Like most of the time, you like get into camp and you're like, sometimes you might be a little injured, but like I started this camp happy as can be, moving to Vegas. Like Eric has been incredible. Him and Gray both, like the entire Extreme family, the UFC PI. But it sure as shit, like I was the one day we caught mitts and I'm like, man, we haven't had any hiccups. And like then hiccup came. So like when the hiccup came, it's like we've been nonstop dealing with hiccups. And it's the injury hiccup. So like we finally were able to beat it, and it's kind of like, man, thank God we beat it now. It's fight week.
Right. Well, what I wanted to say was we're going to have a little bit of fun. I've heard so many of your interviews, and I got to commend you. You've done a lot of promoting for this fight. So we heard the story of you coming from Cleveland, leaving your former team and everything you've gone through. But a lot of fighters don't do that, and you've done your fair share of it. So thank you for that. And for you to be adding us here on Fight Week, man, it means a lot, for us to get, some final words from you before you head over to Chicago for battle.
Well, the crazy thing about it is, like, when they always say, like, come fight week, they're like, all fighters are like, we got to leave them alone. This is a part of the job description. Like, this is a part of what we have to do. And if you choose to be a good athlete in the off season, going into fight week, it's almost like, man, I would much rather be doing media than getting my butt whipped, by Eric for five minutes, having him catch my hands. It's definitely a size difference.
Well, that's
here,
refreshing to hear, right?
So
Totally.
for me personally, like, we train hard to make this week the easiest that we can.
Yeah.
So again, I have to remember I chose this life, and I chose to, put my life out there. How could I be mad when people want a piece of it?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, go ahead, Ghost.
Jessica, so before you came on, our segment before, we were talking about the Vegas lifestyle and how we've all adapted. Eric grew up here, George and we moved here. It took me about 2 years to get this all down. How do you feel right now? Has that come together for you?
Home.
It's home?
I feel home. I feel like home. I feel like Eric and Gray and even like the whole Extreme family and the PI like have both done an incredible job. But like between Eric inviting us over the house, Gray inviting me, to do things with those guys, like just being a part of everything makes it feel like home for me. And because, like, I've traveled here a couple of times for fights, and been here for other friends' fights and just been on the Strip. I only came down to the Strip twice in the past 13 weeks that I've lived here. I've gotten to do so many other things. Try other food spots. Got to go to the, hiking and doing stuff like that, that my whole image on Las Vegas has completely changed. And I think that's the problem is, like, everyone thinks that Vegas is just the Strip. It's just this right here. But there's a world outside of it, and I've really enjoyed it.
What's your guilty pleasures out here?
Hawaiian food.
Hawaiian food?
Yeah, the Hawaiian food. My brother lived in Hawaii for some time, so we got some Hawaiian food, and I think we got Hawaiian food at your house when we watched the fight. Yeah, so Hawaiian food seems to be the big winner right now.
Any
wanna
other
go to
culinary spots?
There was something I seen, and I can't remember the name of the place, but I seen it on IG, and I've been like food porning like crazy. Like all the cool spots around here. The Venetian has like a shake place that you can get like a milkshake, and then they put a piece of birthday cake on top.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'll find out, and I'll let you guys know. But it's supposed to be like a big thing around here.
That sounds
Mr.
awesome.
J's or something. Or
I have a friend who makes fake IDs with an X-Acto knife, so if you want to just come back day after day and just say it's your birthday, I know a guy.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I think you can get it anytime, though. I don't think you have to be a birthday. It doesn't have
really?
to be a birthday. Like, it's like a thing. Don't worry. I'll show you guys, because I cannot wait. Because that cut to 25 is not fun. It's not fun. It's never been fun.
She got shot down last night. We're going to bring her to dinner with us, and she got shot down by the PI. They're like, she's not coming to dinner with you, bro.
Oh, wow.
I was literally like, I could take my food scale and like I could measure the portion out, but they were like, no.
Not happening.
Really? Explain that a little bit. So you invited
so I was going to take her
to dinner.
Yeah, I wanted her to
and then
come
you ran that by the PI, and they said, don't go to dinner with her.
Yeah, basically.
We don't trust you. We don't trust Eric, or we don't trust the process.
I think it wasn't even that. I could have went to dinner, right? Like I could have got to go with him and Annie, and really that's more what it was about. You know, just like togetherness. like. Leaving Ohio was really hard for me. Leaving my team, for all those years, it was hard and things weren't ideal, so to leave that and then feel like I have a family now, like I don't feel alone for the first time. So at any rate, it was to just be together and be there. And then they were like, no way, don't do it. We're scared. You're just going to soak up salt sitting there.
Where would you go?
We went to Joe's. So Joe's Stone. So I was like, I could get her just like a petite fillet. She could eat. We'll tell them what we want, and then Clint from the PI was like, no, not happening. You guys see how I eat, so I roll.
I think Eric one time said I'm the only guy that can spend like $20 or $25 at Roberto's.
Oh yeah, I'll crush Roberto's.
Holy cow!
You missed him at the sushi place in Virginia.
He's a monster.
So they have everything numbered, like 1 through 50, and so some people would go, give me a 14, a 12, and a 7. He literally said, like, give me 34 through 52.
Yes.
And they brought it, and
awesome.
They finished it off.
He's a
What is wrong with
Look
you?
at him. Look at Eric. Eric is probably
the best.
34 through 52.
Dude, I was watching. I'm like, there's no way he's
It was all you can eat. It was all you can eat. It was all you can eat. So I said, just give me 30 through 50. And the guy's like, what? And I was like, no, 30 through 50. And, put it down.
I think Eric might win the best in shape coach, like in the UFC, like head corner. No joke. Like best in shape. Like in all ways. Like sometimes doing mitts with him it's exhausting because I'm like, Eric, stop moving so much. I thought this was mitt work, but he made it. He's like, all these guys like aren't in shape, and it's nothing against him, but like he spends time keeping himself healthy so that he can be healthy for us. Like that's that's a really great thing to do. Like, not only is he taking away time from his family to like keep himself in shape, like he's giving it back just to make us better. I mean, that's.
I appreciate it. I want to keep that high-level athlete, mentality. And
I'm surprised he's got his shirt on. You usually don't have a shirt on at the gym.
What about the climate, the Vegas climate?
It killed me the first couple of weeks. Oh yeah,
I went
dry mouth. Like my chest felt so like heavy, and I didn't realize that was a thing. That like you feel good, like because the first like week and a half I was here, I'm like, what are they talking about? And then it was like a couple weeks in, I was like, Eric, my lungs, why are they burning? And they're like, this is like high time, the allergy season.
Yeah, bad.
Like it was just different, but then I adjusted and it's been incredible. It's made weight cutting easier, right? Like the hot temperature has really helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a sauna anymore. Just step outside, right?
Right?
That'll work.
And we're at half a mile altitude. Denver's the mile high city. We're like at 2,500 feet. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
I don't know
know
what
that.
part of town you're in, but like, for example, we're in Mountain's Edge as you go to Summerlin. So maybe we're a couple hundred feet higher. But yeah, we're half of a mile up.
That's
So
awesome.
That would stand to reason that.
The first time I ever fought at altitude, I killed it. And you know what fight that was? Leslie Smith knocked me off.
Mexico?
Maybe, yeah, Mexico. And they love me there.
¿Hablas
they
español?
did- Yeah, that was when I busted her ear off. So
I remember
maybe I
that.
could bust a nose or something. Get like a Mr. Potato Head, and like we'll just start putting
pick
all
them off.
all the little body parts I'm taking off one at a time.
I know you're a Manchester United fan, and then I heard an interview you were doing where you talked about the Raiders, and it just seems like overall you like all sports.
I'm a big sports gal, like in that regard. Like I just admire athletes, but I'm always going to be a hometown person first. But
Right.
like I love that they have football here because like I love.
Well, we still got one more season to go.
I know,
Yeah.
and which I can totally handle because I heard some awesome Browns backers here, and considering the Browns are going to be good this year, right? Like they're set up for success. I'm excited to have that here. Plus, for you guys, like. Who doesn't love football? Like,
Right.
I mean, I love football. I love the whole entire setup of it. I love tailgating. I love the games. I love posts. I love it all.
That stadium, did you guys see it?
yeah,
It's coming along, huh?
yeah, it's coming along.
That stadium's not only going to bring football, it's going to bring us the NBA All-Star Game, a WrestleMania, a big UFC stadium card.
BCS,
Final
You know what I mean? Final
BCS.
Four.
That's not for another
Correct,
8
yeah,
years. though.
BCS, a bowl game. I mean, I'm telling you, that thing is going to be rocking.
Yeah,
Rocking. I mean, concerts probably. There's a lot of,
Yep.
obviously, musicians that can fill a stadium.
yeah,
So that thing's going to really, really flip the city upside down. The arena's been awesome. You know what I mean?
right.
But that stadium's going to take it to new heights.
I
And
agree.
then that's just without football. But football alone is going to be pretty amazing.
We were
too.
just talking about that too. That I hope it helps out with UNLV and the recruiting.
Yeah.
I think it will.
I think
Yeah,
it will.
hopefully. Jessica, okay, you're now immersed in our culture here in Las Vegas. So the scenario may come up where the Raiders ask you to do whatever their ceremonial thing is to kick off. They may ask you to do it. Can you do it being a Browns fan? Can you put that aside?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah?
of course I can.
What
You
about
know
during
I
a
mean?
Browns
Like,
game, though?
Have you ever seen
do
what
that.
the Vegas Golden Knights do? You wear your former team, and then they cut it or you rip it off, and then you unveil your new Vegas Golden Knights. So a lot of people are transplants. They live here, and it's their way of saying, hey, this was the team I used to root for. I'm done with them. Put on my Vegas Golden. Would you ever do that for
well,
the
they don't
Browns?
have a lumberjack. I mean, the lumberjacks are so old. You guys remember them? The lumberjacks from the Cleveland Lumberjacks?
No.
Or the hockey.
They are way old, but there's the Monsters who are the one step down, but the Lumberjacks were originally, and that was years ago.
In Cleveland? That was the
yeah,
NHL team?
the Lumberjacks, and then now
Yeah,
we
Columbus.
have
Blue Jackets?
and then there was the Monsters who are the Lake Erie Monsters right now, which are the one step down from the NHL
The minors.
right now, but still
Correct
you
me
know.
if I'm wrong, though. Did I hear, I think it was the Josh Thompson show or whatever his show's called, that maybe Vegas is a pit stop while you're a professional, but maybe you're going to make your way to California? Or have you fallen in love with Vegas where maybe you could see yourself being here?
I don't know. I've always wanted to end in California. Like I was just talking to Eric, like I love San Diego, right? Like ideally, I need the fight business to make me a lot of money so I can retire there. Because if
What
not,
part?
then I'm not.
Is there a
San
particular
Diego.
city?
I just like so
Like
I-
north, south, the beach, or inland?
So I've gotten a chance to go to Chula Vista
Okay.
before. So anywhere within like the Pacific Beach area in there.
Okay.
Just because I like the weather and I love the food
Yeah.
and I just love the atmosphere. But again, Vegas has been incredible to me, and I can travel to California
Yeah, it's 3
if
hours,
I
4
want
hours.
to. So maybe Vegas is home. I mean, right now it is, and for now it's going to be. I mean, I have no intent on leaving anytime soon.
All right, so another question I was going to ask you was, what is on your, Netflix? Like, give me a show outside of regular television or Hulu or whatever that you immerse yourself in that you can recommend. Are you a documentary gal, or do you like a certain series that no one's heard about?
It's a couple different things. It really depends on my mood. Like I'm a moody Judy sometimes, so I gotta have my certain shows.
Is that like
for
a negative
times.
Nancy?
Yeah.
A moody Judy?
Yeah, moody Judy.
I'm gonna
right?
use that one. What are you, a moody Judy? What kind of attitude is that?
It's like being a
All right.
sour Sally, you know.
Yeah, right. There we go. But Animal Kingdom is one of mine.
Okay.
That's actually, there's a series that's still currently going, but they offered on
Heard of that
Hulu. Brain Games on Netflix, because I love like the trivial side of it, right? Like I like that there's so much like neurological things you can learn, and I like to apply it to the fight game. Let's see.
What in particular about the neurological side and the brain games?
So I don't know if you're familiar with him. He actually just
anything
did,
that has to do with vestibular balance?
Yeah, well, Jason Silva is he's a life philosopher and a neurospecialist, and he did this thing. Basically, it's like brain games. So it's all these different games on like what you might see like people do, like why they would do that. Like, or if you saw somebody, if I just did this, right, and I just stood there, would you follow suit? Because everybody else started. If I heard a bell ring, I would sit down. Would the rest of the people follow suit if we never were talking to each other? So, like, it studies things like that. Like, it studies things like perception. So, I like to use it because it goes into the fight game, right? So, like, you're able to apply it that way. And that's been one of the things that I do during fight week, too. But off topic.
People do that in elevators.
I was just about to say.
They'll face the wrong way to see if you do it.
Messed around in Chicago when you guys were rolling like 6 or 7 deep, including the embedded guy.
Yeah.
When you get in and you know you're going to make some stops, everybody turn around, and supposedly when people come in, they also face the same direction as you do.
It's crazy.
They feel like they're not fitting in. Like, what?
Yes.
You know.
Yes, and that's totally, and I think that kind of applies to the fight game, right? The reason I feel like that applies to the fight game is like some people only do things if they see other fighters do them. And then there's that fighter or that person that just does what they do, right? And then other people start to follow. So I'm thinking that's going to happen.
I can name 5 of those.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Why did I say 5? I should have said 3. One, the altitude mask. Remember when that was the rage?
Yeah.
Chopping wood, flipping tires.
Uh-huh.
I should have stopped at 3. Why did I say 5? Can you
Three's
think of 2
good.
more?
I don't know.
Are Shark Tanks still in? Or not as much as they used to be, right?
Not as much.
And what else has become?
I was just thinking, though, does he really need to do more hijinks in elevators? Maybe we should keep him out of this elevator game that we're going to play.
Yeah, that's in Cleveland, man. That was in Cleveland.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's right. That was when it fell.
You were in that elevator.
Yeah,
huh?
took that thing down.
Wow.
As bad as it may say now that we're a couple years removed from that, I remember getting on the thing and going like, whoa, and all the guys like, dude, don't do that. And fucking.
How many floors did you guys go down?
I was in one of them.
30
like,
feet.
Before you guys got in that, we were on this same one, and it stopped all the way. Like, it went past it, and we had to climb out of it.
So,
But
yeah,
you
same
could
thing happened to
feel
us,
it,
yeah. Yeah.
You had to climb out where, like,
You
if
had
it
to
goes,
literally
it's
had to
gonna-
climb. You had to climb out of it. It was halfway.
I wouldn't
Like,
get
it
in
was
that
in
one
the middle
again.
of it.
So that whole week, those elevators had problems in the whole entire week.
Oh, yeah.
So
This
when-
is when Miocic fought Overeem,
Overeem,
right?
yeah,
And
and
the
then-
UFC was in Cleveland.
Yep, and Brad fought
So the story
Kyle
is
Magalesh.
there was about, what, 10 of you, 12 of you
There was a
in
bunch.
that elevator.
I gotta
And
find
know
that video.
CB Dalloway was one that was in there. And
He got scratched.
He got scratched, and it affected him for a while.
Yeah.
But a few of you went in there, and there's different types of videos that popped out. But just
Yeah.
so the audience who
So
hasn't
it was
heard that story.
Yancey was on the card, fought Brad Tavares. Uriah Faber was on the card with us. There was another heavyweight too. I can't remember who was on that car on the elevator with us. There was a
Verdum?
Verdum. Yeah, there was a bunch. It was Verdum. Yeah, there was a bunch of us on that, and then CB Dalloway.
And it fell 3 stories, right?
Yeah, so we're on the 3rd floor. So what happened was all of us, like a bunch of the guys, got on from the 1st floor. Myself and Maki and a couple other guys walked up to the 2nd floor to kind of catch it on the way up because only one elevator was working at the time. So when we got on the elevator, the doors open and Verdum's kind of, he's always a jokester, messing around,
Right.
and he kind of front kicked me like, nah, bro, you're not getting on the elevator. And I end up getting on, and then Maki gets on behind me, who's cornering Yancey, and the doors don't close. And as he kind of pushes Maki, we start to go up, like going up a floor, and I see the concrete coming. I was like, oh shit. And I pull Maki on, and all of us were kind of laughing about it, but we're like, oh dude, that would have been bad. So we're going up, and the doors never close, and then all of a sudden we go down.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we go all the way down, hit
Out
the
of
bottom.
all the places they could have chosen Cleveland, like being a Cleveland, like they chose the worst hotel to ever stay in.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was like, great, this is what you're doing. This is what you're gonna make Cleveland look like. Like there could have been anywhere else they could have went, but they went there.
It was bad.
What did that
That's pretty
feel
bad.
like?
Just basically like for me, I felt like it was just kind of like jumping off something high and then landing because, we hit the bottom and it had like a spring to it, sort of.
The elevators have that. So to stop you from flying up, they hit one side first and then it tips you the other side. Like the spring hits the one side, so it takes the weight off. And I think that's what happened with Dalloway. Like he had hit his shoulder because where he was standing, the spring hits the one side. It's like it's all about like the physics.
I'll try to
of it
find it and
the-
repost it to my Instagram. So if you guys want to watch it, anybody listen to
That's the live ride.
It was all of us like
the
aftermath. And, like
Okay.
I remember Justin Buckles and a lot of us were like laughing about it, kind of
I
like
remember
oh shit.
that, yeah.
And then there's a part where like I actually grabbed the doors and like pulled the doors open, and we're like oh shit, we're stuck. And there was that kind of like.
Oh man, we're laughing, but this
We're
is
laughing,
bad.
and then it started getting hot. Like the oh shit
my
moment
God.
kicked in. Yeah, and we were all
Ooh,
packed on this
that would've
elevator.
freaked me out now that
Yeah,
I think about
it was.
it.
It got
get
a little.
claustrophobic,
How
right?
long?
Man, it felt like 20 minutes. It might have been 8. It felt like 20. Like we're gonna have to figure out who we're gonna eat first. If we fucking die. But we all kept our wits about us. We all laughed about it, and I think Buckles and I still laugh about that. So it was.
You gotta
fun.
eat Verdum, right? Makes the most sense.
You gotta
Oh,
take.
Those were
Yeah,
The
something-
biggest meal, you mean? Or
Ray was on
Because you
there.
don't want to
Ray
kill
was
a
on the
lot of
elevator.
people, so you just go with the biggest dude because he's gonna last the longest.
I think you just eat Faber first because he was the smallest.
But then you're gonna
Yeah.
be hungry like in 20 minutes.
True.
Yeah, but he's
Good
dense.
point.
At least like
That's true. He's more like organic.
Poor
huh?
Faber,
He's
man,
like an
he
organic-
gets it. He gets it bad. In our Singapore fight, when I fought there against Jesse Just, he got hit by a car when we were standing outside Evolve. It was literally, honest to God, you guys, it was probably one of the craziest things. You're right. I'm
I
so
blame
glad you're okay.
wait,
you're welcome.
Tell us what happened if you don't mind.
So we had just walked out of Evolve, and so the cars are coming the opposite way, right? So
At
usually,
what speed?
oh man, this guy had been going 40 miles an hour when he hit Uriah. Literally ran over his foot and everything. Oh my God, it was
okay.
terrible.
I think I remember.
Yeah,
hearing
it
this
ran over
before.
his foot, and literally, you guys, he came within probably a half of an inch of being just completely ran over.
Blown
It was
up.
one of the crazy things. He dented the whole front of the car because he hit it so hard, like tried to hit off of it, like limp-legged out.
Oh, he's
and
a
to get
flip flop
out of
guy
there.
too. So you
Yeah,
know
oh my God, his whole
Oh,
foot,
yeah.
his whole
He's wearing
foot,
his
like
slaps.
it was like we were all dead, like quiet, because we were like, oh my God, we almost saw Uriah Faber get pulverized by a vehicle because this car was not paying attention at all. Like they fly down these little tiny alleyways.
Have you ever heard the Uriah Faber story in Indonesia?
I don't know. I've heard he's almost gotten beat up. He got kidnapped.
Where he
Like
fought
got hit by a
Where
car.
he fought like 13 dudes.
Yeah,
That one's
listen.
pretty
He
crazy.
needs
This
to
is like
stay away
WEC
from
Uriah.
that.
Really?
Faber.
Yeah, Uriah. I blame Uriah Faber actually. Now we talk about this. Like this is why the elevator fucking fell.
Right,
It's all
I think so.
Faber.
It
Yeah.
is.
This guy's trying to blame me because I was jumping up and down, but
You see, he's back in the game. He's
Yeah.
fighting in Sacramento.
Good for
in
him,
about
man.
6 weeks or so.
good for him.
Yeah.
Got to make that money for those babies.
True. Well, I'll
Make
tell you what,
babies
babies
money.
babies will make you do a
Yeah.
lot of shit.
Oh, I
Get
thought
the
he
fuck out of the
He had
house.
twins.
No, but I mean like babe. Like,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
So
I
this
don't
is his
know
first kid,
one.
right?
This
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
one, but if you're having one, you're probably gonna have two.
My baby's up late
True.
crying at night. Bro, I gotta get out of this house. How do I get out of this house?
Well,
Let's take another
circling back
fight.
to Netflix, I wanted to recommend something to you guys. If you want something to occupy yourselves, do you sleep on the plane or you watch TV or
I'm not really a sleeper on the plane.
Yeah,
check
I
out
can't sleep on a plane
Chernobyl
either.
from HBO?
Watching it right
It's
now.
historical.
I'm
man.
on it
It's
right
pretty
now.
Cool.
Watched it last
Really?
night with the
Yeah.
wife.
What's it about?
It's about a nuclear plant reactor in the northern part of like the Ukraine, close to Russia, that I guess blew up. I mean, I don't know. They had an
1986.
explosion.
86.
Yeah, it was 86, and it
And it really
affected
happened.
a whole city, but could have been
Continent.
catastrophic in the sense that it
Yeah.
could have. It spread to other countries, but it could have been catastrophic and could have spread even further than that. Just in that city alone, they say 50 years it'll be before there's like regular human life again.
Yeah, it's
you know,
gnarly.
Wow. So it
Yeah.
really happened.
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
well
Wow.
done by HBO, and it's only a 5-part series, so I'm not saying, dude, they're on season 5, 16 episodes a season. It'll take you forever to catch up.
Like,
No,
there's
it's a
been-
5-part series, and I think tonight's the finale.
Is it?
So, boom, you can bust them all out
Yeah.
in 3.5 hours.
I'm on.
to
I'm
Chicago.
on the episode 3, I think, right
Yeah.
now. But it's
think I'm
it's
gonna have to
good.
do that.
It's good. It's gnarly.
I think I'm gonna do that.
I think just now there's some wildlife there in Chernobyl. I saw,
Really?
like, brown
Oh,
bear.
that's the
really?
sad. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah, you're on episode 3. Yeah, man. That there's some tough scenes on there, but
Yeah.
it really happened. It's
For
history,
sure.
you know. But that was
What?
tough.
There's a lot to consume for everyone. So if she doesn't like it, what happens to you? There should be a penalty because you're asking for like 5 hours of her life.
True, that's a good point.
I think there should be a penalty if
she
she thinks it sucks. What happens now?
I'll take a body shot to the liver.
Ooh,
Right hand body?
I was just thinking like
if she watches
buy her a
it
meal
and
or
goes,
something.
well, that sucked. Then the next time she comes, I will take a shot. I'll go. Here we go.
We
I
gotta
love
be
your
honest.
confidence.
You'll be honest.
I love your confidence. No,
what about
I
let
think-
me hit you the liver? Because I
No.
got
Hell
Alton.
no.
That one.
I saw that.
No, because
He deserved that one.
He did.
Jessica would say, "Okay, I don't want to hurt him. I mean, he deserves it, but she'll pull back a little bit." I see
Yeah.
Eric like trying to maul me, man. It'd probably be a combo. I'd probably be like
I saw him do
Benet
it.
against Baroni against Benet up against the
No.
cage would be me or something.
I saw him do it to somebody, but that person will probably say off the air what he did. Totally deserved
You
it.
can tell him. I don't care. I think it's hilarious.
He shocked him in the butthole with
The
the stun gun, right?
the stun gun. We're in
Oh,
JBLE.
God, yeah, everybody has
By
to get
surprise,
stun gun.
yeah.
Got me good.
Yeah, it was
Got me
loud.
good.
And you socked him in the.
I had no
Liver, right?
Yeah,
It was all one
reactionary.
motion, right? I think he just went ow and turned around. And bah!
Boom. Yeah, liver. Like when you get stun gun in the butt hole, you're getting liver
I
shot.
could listen. Getting it in the butthole is pretty bad.
I felt that shit in my eyes.
Hey, remember Jumbo Josh, who you were
Yeah.
hanging out with in Brooklyn?
I do.
He's on the horn here. Josh, you want to say something to Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's
First
up,
of all,
brother?
hi, hello. Hey, I mean, being that Jessica, you have obviously a huge fight this coming weekend, title shot against Valentina Shevchenko. Eric, I just wanted to throw out a challenge to you for when I'm in Vegas for the Thurman Pacquiao fight. I'm challenging you mano a mano to a game of flip cup, my friend.
Oh, dude, it's on, bro. You know me. I'm in.
Done. Okay,
That's-
that was easy.
Or what's the deal though? What are we doing with it?
Yeah, what are you
Are we
gonna
doing
The
picklebacks?
wager?
All the picklebacks in Brooklyn?
We could do flip cups with pickleback. I'll do 5 picklebacks. We could do flip picklebacks. I'm game, man.
We had a blast. Josh and I were running through Brooklyn pretty hard. We had a
Yeah?
good time. Yeah, Misha Tate and one of Misha's friends, and yeah, we found ourselves in some seedy bars in Brooklyn, which I would expect. That was fun.
And by the way, I also caught you on Misha's show, and I know now I'm bordering like being a stalker because I've named like 3 different
this is
shows.
awesome,
But I,
though.
want to do a little bit of research. But I thought that was so cool, you and Misha hitting it off and talking about just your fight itself, the history of the fight itself, and the impact of hitting each other. And that was very entertaining. It was just different.
She had a huge influence. And it's so crazy, right? Like, and we even talked about it, like me getting to Extreme when she was leaving. Like, I feel like I want to be a leader like her on that team, and I feel like she's done so many great things in this sport. And I hate that, like, she's just so identified by the whole Ronda Rousey thing because she's done so much more and people really don't get a chance to meet her. But it was really because of her and Fallis that, I kept hanging on. I did that grappling match with her at the Submission Underground and had a chance to sit down with her and follow us and like kind of hang out and like be cool, right? Have beers, be normal people, not fight people, but normal people. And they were like, girl, just hang on. It's going to happen. 25's going to happen. And it was awesome to like get a chance to just kind of like let bygones be bygones. We got a chance to kind of talk about why I thought like she didn't like me and I didn't like her, because a lot of this time it's like really false beef, right? Like between fighters, unless there's something actually happened, and most of the time there's not. It's just like this false, fake beef that happened or something they just want to create.
Women be tripping, we know.
Yeah, but not even necessarily even with the
Wanna hit
women,
it,
but the
Flipper?
guys have been way worse. Listen, me and Valentina and Jojo have all been at the PI, and like when she came there, they were like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do? I'm like, listen, you think I'm going to fight her without my money? I'm not stupid like the guys. I don't fight somebody without making my money first. So, no, that's not going to happen.
Does it even feel uncomfortable at all?
I think that's where like Valentina said this, like the ongoing beef with her and I didn't even know there was a beef. Like I didn't know that we had beef per se. Yeah, I've poked and added a little bit of extra, like, I don't know, converse back and forth. But me and Jessie Joss, like, who, I became friends with now, like when we fought each other, even going into the fight week, like we had fun banter back and forth with each other. Like she'd be like, oh, I like your dog, or like anything I have said to Valentina, like she just shoots me down and like basically gives me no respect. And here I am like praising her on all the things that she's done, and like anytime I say anything, she takes it as like disrespect. Maybe it's the language barrier or whatever it is. But we did run into each other in the bathroom, and I was changing, and she said something to me. I think it was along the lines of, "You'll get your chance soon," but I was like half naked, and I was like a little awkward by her talking to me while I was changing, that I was like, whatever. Like I kind of just like let it roll off me. So like, I think the beef is created in her head in that way. I mean, yes, I do think she sped up that video. It sure looked like it in that regard, which is the only thing that I think that she can say that I said.
Do you have a feeling at all, sometimes in certain matchups, when they're fresh, you still feel like, even though this is the first time we're fighting, I feel like I'm going to fight this individual multiple times?
Yeah, and it's not her. Feeling? It's not her.
No?
It's not her. It's another girl. It's another girl that I think that we'll keep going back and forth. And she's on the card, too.
Oh,
Who do you think it is?
Well, we'll figure that out. We got to take a quick break. I'm going to do a little bit of investigation. But I do want to talk about another fight on the card, just to rehash a point that I made yesterday, how MMA, man, those split decisions can just send you in different directions. So we'll cover all that when we come back. We have Eric Nicksick and Jessica Ai here in studio. They're headed to Chicago for UFC 238. Jessica Ai is in the co-main event slot against Valentina Shevchenko. In the main event slot, you got Marlon Moraes and Henry Cejudo. It is a stacked card. We'll talk more about that when we come back.
Real show begins. Take it away, boys.
Be the smartest fan in the room and the most informed member of your fantasy league with Fantasy Sports Radio, featuring the best analysts like the fantasy football guru, John Hansen, and former baseball general manager, Jim Bowden. Plus shows with the Action Network, RotoWire, Fantasy Alarm, and more. From the NBA Finals to Major League Baseball, the Belmont Stakes, and more, Fantasy Sports Radio has you covered on Sirius 210 XM87 and streaming on your phone, and at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. Could they give me a longer read? I covered a lot there.
That is
the only thing I left out was First Wave is Channel 33, and well, maybe I didn't. The NFL Network's Channel 88. Those are my favorites. All right, we're joined by Jessica Ai and Eric Nicksick here in the studio. And we were chatting a little bit of a tease there about a former opponent who you think you might mix it up again with, Katlyn Chookagian. And actually, it's going to bring back a point that I made yesterday. I was saying, no, it was last week. I was saying there's a lot of times where in fights, I think fighters can go back and go, wow, if I had dug deeper, or if maybe I had done more conditioning, or if maybe I had just listened to the game plan, prepared better. I just feel like there's these, in every athlete. Now, I'm not just picking on any set of athletes from last week's cards or anything, but I'm just saying there's these razor-thin decisions that it comes down to.
Changes.
Yes. Look who's fighting in the co-main event for a world title. All right. And look who's the first fight. I think Katlyn and Joanne's the first fight of the night, if I'm not mistaken. They're on UFC Fight Pass. She's on a pay-per-view. Katlyn Chookagian also was 2-0 when she dropped down back to flyweight. Sorry, dropped to flyweight and was 2-0. That could have easily been her in that spot. I'm not doing this to demean Katlyn Chookagian. She's a quality fighter. She's done well at 35 and 25. I'm just saying, look how close those razor split decisions can come down to. And therefore, I always say fighters need to convincingly win rounds, not just hope they won a round, because you're leaving your hands in 3 judges who
you don't even
sometimes
know
aren't the biggest experts in
Yeah.
mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Who knows what their opinions are on the sport, What if one of those guys is an ex-wrestler and then one's an ex-boxer,
Right.
and one's a karate guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are 3 different parts of the sport. So, yeah, I think Chookagian, Katlyn is incredible, right? Like, she was, when I was coming up through the rankings at 125 and into Bellator, like, she was a little bit like younger in the sport, but she was very well known. And then when I left and came to bantamweight, I remember seeing interviews about her saying, like, I'm just holding out for 25. And it's hard to hold out at 25 for all those years. Like, that was the choice why I came up. It was a financially driven decision. One where I thought that, like, okay, maybe I can contest with some of these girls, but it wasn't until, like, it really didn't set into me until I grappled Misha, and it was the week after Raquel Pennington, and she came in at 157, and I was 143 that week. Like, it was really like, oh, man, wait a minute, maybe I'm not as big. Like, you always think you're big, right? Like, Eric's big, but, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm big, but I'm not Eric big. Like, I'm not big like that. Like, I wasn't as big as some of the other girls. And I think that was too, like, Chookagian, like, she waited out, whereas I just went in and, to be honest, I wouldn't go change it back now, because I don't think I would have been as good as I am now today, or been given some of those fights that, like, put me under the light, right? Like, I fought on the beginning part of pay-per-views. I've headlined Fox cards. Like, at least all that experience is with me, going into some of these big fights, because someone's like, oh, man, it's co-main event. Like, it doesn't make a difference to me where I fight on the card. I guess I get a little bit longer, time to recover, and I get a little bit longer of a nap during the day. Like, it doesn't make a difference to me if I fight the beginning part or the end of the card. Like, it doesn't matter.
That was the answer to the tease you left before the break, correct?
Yeah, I think that she's, me and her are going to run this division, and it's nothing against Valentina, and I can, this is all hypothetically speaking, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what Valentina is going to do against me, and I don't know what necessarily I'm going to do against her. I know what I'm going to impose on her to make her do, but I do think I know how the outcome of this fight is going to end, and that's me coming out, with that belt and in a devastating way. Like, we definitely didn't come to be nice. Like, this is a fight where I have to show how evil I really am, and I think that this will be I'm with the 2 best guys right now that are leading my corner, Gray and Eric, to make that happen. Like,
Goes?
Well, I wanted to go back to close decisions again. And Eric, the night of the fight, there's so much going on for the fighter to know what exactly, how close these rounds are and all that. But have you ever thought about, when you go back and watch the fight, has there ever been one where you went, wow, watching it on tape is so much completely different than what I saw that night?
Yeah,
Does
absolutely.
that happen a lot?
Yeah, quite regularly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be the other way too, where we won and maybe you look back like, oh shit, we got away with one there. So again, I hate to use that cliche, it's a matter of inches, but I think the one thing that I saw out of Jessica on Saturday that especially with Gray that we just try to implement is like just winning those scrambles, winning those battles inside the clinch, scoring in places that you're not accustomed to score. Those are the things I think that judges are getting a keen eye for, hopefully, and they're giving the rewards to people, like, you know, when you got that overhook and you're battling for hip position and you hit a snap down or you win that one scramble, that could be the complete outcome of a fight. You know, so those are the things that we try to implement the most is take advantage of those positions, because that could be ultimately what can win or lose you that round.
All right, we got to take another break here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. We are joined in studio by Jessica Ai and Eric Nicksick. They are headed to Chicago for UFC 238. I will be, not me, but Jessica Ai will be challenging Valentina Shevchenko for the UFC flyweight title. We'll be right back. We're going to be talking to Lyoto Machida.
For rating all their snacks, they are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, let's get to it. Joining us now on the hotline is former UFC light heavyweight champion, now currently a Bellator light heavyweight. He'll be facing Chael Sonnen in the co-main event of Bellator 222 on June 14th in Madison Square Garden. His name's Lyoto Machida. What's up, Lyoto? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
All right, welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Dan, and we also have Jessica I and Eric Nicksick here in studio with us. Hey, man, we're really, really anxious to see your fight versus Chael Sonnen, and I like the fact that it's been pretty respectful, something we don't see usually from Chael's side.
Yeah, he's very respectful of me, and I appreciate that, but I like actually, I would like that he promote the fight a little bit more because he knows how to do that. But I'm all respectful, no?
So you were hoping that he would trash talk a little bit? Did you have some return fire waiting for him? Or
That can be. Yeah, I'm not worried about trash talk. You know what I mean? Like, if it's gonna be good for the fight, I'm okay, man.
All right. Well, maybe he'll amp it up here. We still have a few weeks left once he hears this. All right, Dan, Tom, what do you have for Lyoto Machida?
Hey, Lyoto, stylistically, when people break it down, they say Lyoto Machida does really well against wrestlers. For the most part, you look at the Ryan Baders of the world, who's doing really well now, and so forth. But I got to ask you, not only is Chael Sonnen a wrestler, he's also a southpaw, and I know those southpaw versus southpaw matchups can be kind of tricky. What's your opinion on the southpaw versus southpaw matchup, Lyoto? So
back in the day, I used to struggle with southpaw because most of my opponents were orthodox. But after a lot of fight against southpaw guys, so I kind of got used to train with southpaw. And I hope that I'm not going to struggle in my next fight against Chael Sonnen because I know how to deal with a southpaw guy, especially if he's a wrestler.
I got you there. And just one quick follow-up on that. You talk about stylistic adjustments that you made over time. What about adjusting to Bellator in general? It's different from the UFC, but it's still a big organization with great production. Have you gotten used to everything as far as the people, the flow, the feeling?
So I got used to be there because I already debuted over there. And my first fight, I was a little bit concerned about my first fight because as a fighter, you never know. And when you step out in different cage, sometimes you can feel the pressure. And my fight was against a very tough opponent, Rafael Carvalho. He's a former Bellator champion. But, I was tough at the beginning, and afterwards, I could control more the fight and get the win. Now, I believe that I got used to be there, and I'm very anxious too. And I can't wait to step again.
Lyoto, originally we thought you were going to be in the main event. They switched to Rory McDonald versus Neiman Gracie. Did that matter to you at all?
Not at all. No, Bellator has to do what's going to be the best for the event. So they have a championship in front of them. So they have to promote more. And I'll have my turn. I'll have my chance to have a main event in Bellator. And I know I have to wait a little bit, but soon I'll be fighting for the title or something like that.
Well, that would be nice to see. All right, Lyoto, well, thank you very much for joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. We look forward to your fight versus Chael Sonnen on June 14th at Madison Square Garden. That's huge, man. This is a great card for Bellator 222, and we thank you for your time tonight.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'm sorry I'm doing my cardio right now to improve a little bit more, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you guys.
Thank you, sir. All right, take care. We'll see you. All right, that's Lyoto Machida. Follow him on Twitter at Lyoto Machida FW. Follow Eric Nicksick on Twitter at Eric_XCMMA. Follow Jessica I on Twitter at Jessica Evil Eye. Jessica, we always ask this for our in-studio guests.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share a good street fight story with us?
My first street fight?
Wow.
Yeah.
You really had to pull that one out of you.
Just
yeah.
A good one. It don't have to be the first one. Just give us something juicy.
She perked up there.
Yeah, I fucking love this.
Now, does this go down in the mean streets of Cleveland, or where? Set this up.
Well, okay, I have. Let me think. Over okay, so we're gonna do this one at the Barley House in Akron when I was at Akron U, and it's right when I first started training MMA. Right, so I just started doing the whole MMA thing, like learning about everything. We were out at the Barley House, And my friend I just gotten off practice. So, like, it was a Thursday night, right? Thursday is, like, college night, like, those areas. So, I get off, all my friends at the Barley House. I just got off practice, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to come straight from practice. I'm in flip-flops and stuff. So, I go there, and one of my friends is, like, so drunk, one of my girls. And I'm like, damn it, all right, come on. I'm gonna get it together, girl. Like, so I'm trying to take her to the bathroom. Like, well, she, like, bumps into, like, one of the girls, right? And girls are the meanest when they're drunk. Like, they are ruthless. Right, so she like bumped into my friend, like bumped into her, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, the girl was like, pushed her head, and like instantly, I would like, she mushed my friend, and I just like let my friend go, and instantly got a whole head of hair, right? Pulled her to me and was like, started choking her, and literally was like, what now? All right. And the bouncer was literally like, Jess, no, because they all knew I just started fighting. So they're like, no, let her go. And I was just like, kept holding her. I was like, no. I was like, push my friend again. Go ahead. Do it again. Keep bullying people when they're drunk. Go ahead. And I had to prove a point. So finally they let me go, and they were like, the bouncer was so big. He was about like Eric's size. And he was like, you can't be fighting. And like grabbed me and like pulled me outside and like pulled me so much that I was out of my shoes. I was like, can I at least have my shoes? Gotta have my shoes back. So like we got my shoes. Then they kicked the other girl out, and they were like, look, Jess, like,
did she apologize, by the way, the other
well,
one?
So, oh no, it's not over yet.
Oh, okay.
So we're
Sorry
out in the
about that.
front, and like my friend, like all of my friends then come there, and I'm like, man, what the heck? Like, what are you being so, like, and at that point I'm like why are you so drunk? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, pay attention to your surroundings. Like, I always have this thing, like when we go out, like if we do this, that means pay attention. There's something going on. Like,
Smart.
Pay attention. So like I'm like, you're supposed to be paying attention. You weren't even paying attention. Well, we get to like the side, and all of a sudden like there was a gentleman that was, I don't know the right way to say this. I don't want to get myself in trouble because I have gay friends. But there was a gay guy and her and a couple other people. Well, they like come out of the bar on the side of the building, and they're like, hey, what's up now?
How
like,
many of
what's
them
up?
are there?
There's 4 of them. So there was me, my friend Mindy, and then my friend Rachel. And I was
one of those is the drunk, right?
well, there was, Mindy. Mindy's the drunk. Rachel's drunk with her, but not quite as drunk. And I'm the sober bones.
And they have 4 on their side?
And they have 4 on their side. So it was 3
Can
girls.
your 2
3 girls, 1 gay guy. So the gay guy comes over to my girl, and like they start yelling, was like, your friend's this, that, and the other, like this. And then slaps my friend across the face. And that's when I was like, excuse me? Like, who are you slapping? And then, of course, all of us go over there and just jump this guy.
Your girls
literally.
Your girls can throw as well?
At this point, well, they were doing as much as they could. But, I
Okay.
mean, at this point, I was just grabbing, and we were full on fighting. Literally, the next thing you know, we hear someone go, cops are coming! We scattered. Fight was over, and then we were gone. They joked with me. The guys at the Barley House contacted Marcus, my old coach, and was like, hey, let Jess know that we got her on video fighting, and like just tease her about that. So they teased me for weeks, acting like the cops were looking for me. They're like, they know it's you, Jess. Like they know you're trying to train to be a fighter. I was, it was definitely one of those times when you don't want the cameras around.
So you
It was
did drop a
not
couple
being
people.
nice. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely was.
Nice. That was a good
Definitely.
story. You got 2 for 1 on that
I was
one.
picturing it too. It was
It was definitely one of those times where it was like one of those moments where I'm like, ooh, I hope that doesn't come back one day. Someone doesn't have a video.
Well, Gady thought he can get in with the
Dude, I
to
couldn't
fight the
believe it.
chick.
You know what the thing was? Is like I couldn't believe it because like he had no shame. Like
Right.
just right across the face.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, oh.
Wow.
Good thing I have brothers. So, I
Right.
mean, I'm going to hit you back.
All right. We got to
Go.
take our last break, and then we'll be here to close up shop. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. Stay close. We will be right back. We'll talk a little bit about Jessica's journey to Chicago to challenge Valentina Shevchenko for the UFC flyweight title. It's coming up on Saturday.
It's duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season.
Whether it's food,
Less filling, tastes great. Less filling, tastes great.
gambling,
Always bet on black.
I like red.
Black, red, black, red, black dummy.
or even social media,
Instagram,
Snapchat.
Instagram.
Snapchat.
the same applies to the biggest stories in MMA. Time for MMA Junkie Radio's Daily Debate.
Hey, real quick, Instagram or Snapchat?
Instagram.
Yes. All right. Today's daily debate question for at MMA Junkie Radio and UFC flyweight Jessica I and Extreme Couture general manager and coach Eric Nicksick. Will we see Alexander Gustafsson fight again? It's easy. Yes, he will be back. No, he's retired for good. Goes.
I'm glad we did this towards the end of the show because at the beginning I thought he's not going to fight again. But now I'm starting to think, could it have been the situation that he was in front of his home crowd? Was that just too enticing to retire at home that he decided to make that decision? Because you're right. If John Jones loses, that opens up that entire division.
He's a
and
top
maybe
5
come
light
back.
heavyweight, yeah.
I'm going to say he's coming back.
I'm
Okay.
with you.
All
I'm
right,
with you on
Jessica?
that. I felt the same way when I lost in Cleveland. I literally said that in the back. I said that to everyone. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to have babies. Like, I don't want to do this. So one of the advice I can give you, Gus, is don't make decisions on temporary emotion. Like, sometimes it can just, a lot of things can start to happen. You don't always have to make the decision. I think that was just like a spur of the moment decision with him because you lose in front of your hometown. Like, you feel like, oh my God, I got to escape, and you can't. And the only way to escape is to find the one out that we all look for, and that's retirement.
Mm-hmm. How about you, E?
I think he comes back. I think Goes brings up a good point, putting a lot of pressure on himself fighting at home. That's his second loss in Stockholm. But I honestly, as a guy who watches him fight consistently, I think he's kind of coming into his own. And I think he's still putting it together. So I don't see any reason why. But again, like, I'm not in his shoes.
He needs an Eric Nicksick in his life and a Gray Maynard.
You know what? Like, even with Kevin Lee, man, and we just talked about this. Go. I called Coach Crouch. I called Coach Montoya. I was going to send Kevin out there to go train with him. Maybe it's some new looks. Maybe it's some new energy. Maybe he needs something that they're just not connecting with right now. So, I think any good coach or anybody that cares more about the person than their ego will let them go and experience new things. But again, I'm just saying that for Gustafsson, there might be other stuff going on with him, but I think he comes back.
Why do you think 58% said no, he's retired for good? I thought it was going to be more of a slam dunk with yes. But 42% said yes, 58% said no. Why do you think so many people are believing this one?
I think it was just the look on his face. You just really felt like he didn't want to be there
should he have even been in there on Saturday? Would have he won? Would he have retired, or would that have been a swamp song?
No, I don't think so.
Me
I'm
neither.
telling you, I think that I'm with you, and I think it was a decision made on temporary emotion, and it was just the easiest way to get like the MMA fans off of his back, right? Like, what's the biggest way to get them off your back? Either not answer or say you're retired, and that like at least gets them away from you for a little bit, right? Like they can be like,
yeah.
I didn't think he fought bad.
it was one bad takedown, right? I mean, really is what I mean, that happens. Like, again, don't make decisions, important decisions on temporary emotions.
All right. Well, it was almost split, so thank you to Junkie Nation for your votes, and thanks, guys, for participating in the daily debate. All right, we got 90 seconds left. Jessica, thank you so much for stopping by. Eric, of course, as well.
Love you guys.
Safe travels to Chicago. And, hey, let me just say this. Formidable champion is Valentina Shevchenko.
Yes.
But you earned your spot. I can't wait for this fight. It's going to be a great one. Anything can happen in sports.
When it's your time, it's your time.
Exactly. And you know what? Andy Ruiz defeated Anthony Joshua. So anything can happen, and
It's the year of the underdog, baby.
We're going to be tuning in.
That's right.
Folks, I'm telling you, this is an awesome matchup. Again, you have a quality champion and a quality challenger. You can't ask for more. And that's only one of 2 title fights on Saturday. Henry Cejudo also faces Marlon Moraes. And plus, Cowboy versus Ferguson. Man, how lucky are we? I also want to thank Lyoto Machida for his time. Tomorrow we'll be back. We have a few different guests coming in as well. Some more PFL love because on Thursday they have a show. Jordan Johnson will join us. Kevin Tiller and Neiman Gracie from Bellator. He'll be here as well. Joseph Benavidez stopping by on Wednesday.
Joe B.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff lined up. All right, we're out of here. Thank you very much to Jumbo Josh, Jael, Kelly, who produced the show. I think Mike Russo stepped in as well. And, of course, Dan Tom and Goes, Eric and Jessica. I'm George. I took it to another level. I was fantastic, so shout out to myself. We're out of here. We'll be back in 22 hours. Go out there and be a champion.